Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Shantae. I actually almost said Mega Man Battle Network 6 there. Kyle, this isn't a Cap- well actually no, this was distributed by Capcom, so yeah, close enough. In the last part we started off the game and now we're gonna continue on. Now Scarecrow Fields here is actually surprisingly deadly purely because of these guys. Because they're kind of meanly placed. In fact, well they're technically randomly placed, but the way their attack works can be kind of mean if you're not used to it. I'm not sure if this game has, when it comes to the day-night system, if it has something similar to Symphony of the Night, Simon's Quest, where when you're at night, enemies are stronger, but either way, we just got a Firefly. You might think that those are some optional collectible, right? Nope, they're required. There are 12 of them in the game, and they only appear in certain areas, in set areas rather, at night. You can only get 2 at this point, and I'm going to be getting them. By the way, I love this song. Then again, as I think I mentioned last part, this game's soundtrack's amazing. I'm not sure if Jake Kaufman did this game. I know he did some of the later ones, but either way, whoever did the soundtrack, you are a genius. Spider Forest here isn't that bad, honestly. The spiders can blindside you, and those flying demons are very troublesome because they take a lot to kill. But nothing too bad. Although, one thing that's a bit weird is that you can, you might see the occasional log on the ground that's open. You can crawl into that. That's one weird thing with crawling, though. You can't actually start crawling unless you're not holding the B button. Which is weird, because honestly, this is a game where you always want to be holding the B button because it's how you run. That's one thing that the later games definitely help with. So yeah, you can crawl into that log for no reason, really. Some logs do serve as connecting tunnels to other areas, but not at this point. Also, the background here, for some reason, reminds me of the forest near Doma Castle in Final Fantasy VI, where you fight the Phantom train. Huh. Anyway, that's a save point there, that's always useful. Keep in mind this area for the very near future, because we'll be cutting back there in a couple of minutes. And welcome to... I'm not sure what the exact name of this area is. I've always just called it the Waterfall River. Or not Waterfall River, Waterfall Canyon, if anything. Water is instant kill to Shantae. She's practically a Belmont when it comes to that. Even points where there looks to be water, and it's just like 2 inches deep, and there, you can see the floor beneath it, that still counts as a bottomless pit, so don't fall into it. And it's also here that that whole screen resolution thing that I mentioned last part comes into play. Because there's a lot of blind leaps here if you don't know the map by now. Admittedly, this is also one of the first games I'm doing somewhat of a test playthrough for, just to memorize part of the maps. And by that I mean I'm doing like 6-7 minute recordings, stopping them, playing the next 6 or 7 minutes, and doing that again. Comes in handy. And enemy-wise here, nothing really to watch out for except for those sharks or whatever the heck they are in the waterfall. Because if you're not paying attention to where they are, they will blindside you, and it's not fun. And it's nighttime. Which was actually very well timed for me because of stupid worms! Or are they snakes? Either way. Welcome to Watertown. I'm not going to show it off yet because all I do here is use the bathhouse really quickly. Because I want to get the next Firefly while it's still nighttime, and get it now instead of later. Because over here, and I've always just called this, Stormy Ravine for some reason. I'm not sure if these areas have official names or anything, I just call them what they are. There's another Firefly right here. Some people miss this one for some reason. I'm not going to. And with that, now I'm just going to cut back to Watertown. I forgot to put a transition in there, huh? Oh well. And welcome to this place. Every town does have unique places. In this place, it's Bola's Gazebo and the Firefly Shrine. The Firefly Shrine will come into play later. But the item shop, well, this is where I do my next big grinding segment. Because there's a lot of items I want to buy at this point. I want to buy 3 more Vial 1s, 3 Vial 2s, 1 Vial 3. All these accessories here, which give you extra attacks, like the boot, when you double tap up. She'll do this little spin kick in the air. When the sash, when you attack while doing the boot attack, you'll actually do this little spin kick towards the ground. Cuff, you hold the button, the attack button, and you'll charge forward. And the tiara, if you press the button after that, you'll do stuff. And then I bought 20 float muffins, 2 exit candies, and 50 flash bolts. Hi, Bolo. I thought I'd find you here. We've got an emergency in Scuttletown. Things have been rather exciting here, too. We just got a visit from the infamous lady pirate, Risky Boots. She came here already? And she didn't attack? Pho, not at all. She just wanted directions to the Dribble Fountain. What? You didn't give them to her, did you? She sure was pretty, in that outfit. Hoo-hoo! Ah, you imbecile, now I've got to get there first. Where's this place? You probably passed it on the way here. The aqueduct below it is locked up tight, though I suppose I could show you how it opens. You bet you will. You're in the doghouse as it is. I'll meet you at the Dribble Fountain. And you'd better be there. And that's that thing I mentioned I'd be coming back to earlier. And, yeah, Bolo there's important character. So now we're back here. There you are. What are you doing now, you idiot? I can smell her perfume, and it's so beautiful and alluring. Snap out of it. I've got to get inside. Whatever Risky's after is worth investigating. Stand back. A quick flick of the wrist, and... You nearly hit me, you asshole. There, that ought to do it. You go on inside. I'll wait here in case she comes back. Well, that was easy. There you are. Hold it, you rat. Huh? It's that silly girl again. Try if you like, but you'll never keep up with me. Ta-ta. You little cheater. By the way, if you can actually technically break that before the cutscene ends. Welcome to Dribble Fountain, the first dungeon in the game. Of the 4, actually. I want you to know what they start us off with the water dungeon. Yay! Actually, it's not that bad. It's also you're going to probably use quite a few of those pike balls and vanishing creams that we got last part. And I should mention, sometime in between the start of next part and the end of next part, I will be doing more dance grinding and pretty much buying as many vanish creams and pike balls as I can really carry. I know that's a lot of effort, but still. Anyway, this is the pike ball. It's really broken. It destroyed this mini-boss in 5 hits. That's satisfying. Later games... Well, first off, there's another enemy here. These guys. These guys are really annoying because they can actually block your attacks. However, they can't block the pike ball. And in here we got the first of these things. This is a warp squid. There's 5 in each dungeon, and in each town there's a warp squid hut. Put 4 warp squids of any color, I believe, really, into a warp squid hut. And you can teleport. You learn a teleport dance to go there at any time. Really useful, though you can only get 4 of them in this place at this point. Anyway, what was I saying? That's right. On later Shantae games, you have infinite of the item. You still have to buy it, as far as I can recall. But as long as you have it for good. And you have a magic bar that goes down as you use them more and more. That instead of just having like a finite number of them. It's a system I like, but at the same time I like this as well because it allows you to plan stuff out a bit more effectively. Although when we run, well, first off, this is the puzzles of this. This is how the puzzles of this dungeon work. You see that pattern like that, and then you match them on these little spinning things. And for doing that, you get a key which you have to break out of its little orange sphere thing. And now we can continue on. Now, one of the things that really annoys me about the items in this game, at least as far as I can tell, is that if you get hit in the middle of the animation that summons the item, that little dance she does, you'll still use the item, but the item's effect won't take effect. Which is kind of stupid. I'll just blame the Game Boy Color's programming on that one, though. Or the fact that knockback is technically a thing. Well, it's not really knockback in this game. It's more like the knockback that Castlevania Chronicles had in its arrange mode on the PlayStation, where you just kind of twitch in place. These electric platforms here are surprisingly weird with their timing, because if they're not on screen, they're not considered a thing, I believe. So you need to be kind of careful with how you time them. Run over these pits, because otherwise you'll fall into the water and die, like Mario 1. By the way, I love this song. Then again, as I stated, I think 3 times now or so, I love this game's soundtrack. Vanish Cream in particular is honestly the item you're probably going to be using the most aside from Pike Ball, just because the invincibility it gives you is so broken. Though at the same time, when you're recording like me, there are times where you can see Shantae flickering, times where she's completely invisible, and times where she's completely solid, due to the fact that the flicker might not keep up with the frame rates. In fact, you guys might not even be seeing her right now. And we got another one of these puzzles. They're fairly simple puzzles, honestly. Like, if I had had this game on my Game Boy, I would have been able to figure these out very easily. Well, I actually never had a Game Boy Color, at least. My brother had the Game Boy Monochrome Brick, and I had the Game Boy Advance, but neither of us ever had a Color for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he thought he already had the Game Boy, might as well play most of the games that you can play on the Game Boy Color on it. Because there were some backwards compatible games. Pokemon Gold, Silver, and the first Mega Man Extreme come to mind. Not Extreme 2, though. Extreme 2 is color exclusive. Anyway, yeah, the vases here, I should mention this. Vases in the games hold gems, hearts, and the occasional one-up. However, they're not randomized. Each one is, in fact, set to where it is. And you're going to want to crawl into this little hidden passage that's hinted to you via this enemy to find Warp Squid number 2. Wait, is that a grammar error? I think they used the wrong form of it's. Because, let's see, it is normally it is, but at the same time I see it use the laws of possessive. Is that actually correct? I'm not exactly sure. Then again, grammar is not my best thing, as many of you have probably noticed. I'm a spelling Nazi, not a grammar Nazi. I suppose that would make me more of a spelling comrade instead of a... Yeah, nah, that's just more World War II puns I don't feel like making. This is not the room where Vanish Cream comes in real handy, because these fireballs can be kind of mean, especially that one from behind you that you might not have a chance to dodge. Okay, let's do this puzzle. Oh, and now it's broken. Great. Good job, Shantae. Good job. You broke stone with your hair. Realistically, that is supposed to happen. This is just the kind of puzzle they used to replace it with. By the way, you're going to learn to hate this corridor, or more accurately, these little worm things, because they are really iffy with their timing. This is one of those games that has variable jump height, so the longer you hold the button, the higher you'll jump. Although there's times where it seems like you won't make a jump, and you will just because you're holding the button. Because her jump animation is kind of deceptive like that. And for killing this guy, we get a key. Effortlessly. I love you, Pike Ball, you're amazing. I love it when games actually have useful items, because almost every single item in this game has a good use. Because float muffins, but like the things I got earlier, but those are a... I'm spacing on words in my head. They're pretty much an auto floatability. So if you eat one and then you try to fall into a bottomless pit, you'll survive. I probably should have used one earlier in the dungeon, honestly. Yeah, I probably should have. Wow, that would have been a speedrunning tactic I should have used. Huh. Oh well. In this section, it's pretty simple. You just have to push this block around enough. It kind of gets tedious, but at the same time, you need to do it, so oh well. Better suck it up. Though, I really wish I wasn't so greedy when it came to health. I think it's because of the heart system, too. Whenever I'm playing Zelda and I find myself below half health, I'm like, hearts, 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 hearts. Even when I have 20 hearts, or in the case of Majora's Mask, upwards of 20 because of the double defense. Because honestly, if I'm playing Ocarina of Time and I fall down below half health after I get the double defense upgrade, I'm having a bad day. Majora's Mask, though, because you get that fairly early in comparison to Ganon's Tower, it's understandable if I fall below half health. Especially in Stone Tower Temple. Oh boy. Well, that was easy. And that's the next key. And now we need to come back up to here where we got the little stone rotating thing that we put on that puzzle, so we can come in here. Thank you for freeing me. Once I was the guardian of this labyrinth, but a terrible creature imprisoned me here. For your kindness, I will teach you a magical dance that you can use to foil evil. Watch closely. We learned our first transformation dance, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I mentioned the dance button earlier. First off, you can review them on your practice screen. The dance is pretty much this game's transformation mechanic. Press select to enter this, and you have to press and hold the button in time with the little star with a note next to it. When the final note ends, you transform. The monkey is essentially your speedster class. It's the fastest moving thing on ground, it has the highest jump, and it can also cling on and jump off walls. It can't attack right off the bat, but it's useful. It's very, very useful. It's my favorite out of all the transformations, aside from a certain one that's exclusive if you're playing the game on the Game Boy Advance, which I will be showing off later down the road. Also, we got the third warp squid there, yeah. And I'm only coming over here to show this off, because I want the health that's in here. You got a full heart, which restores all your health, and a 1-up. Now, I'm actually going to cut back quite a few rooms. Back to the one that sent us on this whole trek, or near where we got the second warp squid. That shaft that we were in earlier before that. Like, this is the room right before where we got the second warp squid. In terms of chronological of early in the video, if that makes sense. You'll find it very easily. This map isn't terribly big. Dungeon 3's map, on the other hand, ugh. And the fourth warp squid's actually very close by. Just jump up here, and jump up here. We cannot get the final transformation until much later in the game. Like, until after Dungeon 3 or 4. So, yeah. I don't know why games do that sometimes. It's annoying. By the way, I love the jaunty little tune that plays whenever you start dancing. Sometimes the timing on the dance might seem a bit specific, and honestly it is. But I'm willing to let that go just because of how fun the game is. And now I need to do a bit of backtracking, actually. Because the boss fight is actually at the very top of this room that we were in much earlier in the dungeon. But we can only get to it now since we have the monkey. By the way, if you actually ever have some free time and you're not watching my videos, which, speaking of which, thank you all for doing so, check out a Shantae speedrun. Those are actually really fun to watch. In fact, speedruns in general are just pretty fun to watch, depending on what the game is. Like, I'm in the middle of watching AGDQ 2015, even though it ended much earlier in the year, because it's currently the middle of February. But I just watched the Minish Cap run, and my god, my mind is hurting. But it's still cool nonetheless. Oh, hello, you got here pretty quickly. Wow, what is this place? Oh, the legendary dribble stone. Mine for the taking. Why pour water into that steam engine when this thing will power it forever? What? Ah! I'm assuming this means boss fight. And the first boss is Krakow? Or Phantoon. Phantoon here, I'm not sure if he actually has a name, can only be hit on his eye. Though you can hit his eye at any time with your hair, as long as it's facing forward. Though it's really hard to time for me. I can usually only hit him when he's on the very far left or the center. I've seen boss fights with this guy go much more quickly than mine does. Attack-wise, he actually doesn't have that many. He has this little attack, which I stupidly forget to dodge, which you just jump over, and then he has this attack right here, where he'll dive underneath the water, and then you need to transform into the monkey, and jump on the walls of the screen in order to not get hit. By the way, I love the lighting for this game, by the way, I should mention that, because Shantae has, like, different sprites for whatever lighting she's in, and that's awesome. Way Forward knows their sprites. Heck, there's a reason even though licensed games are really well received. But Phantoon, really, really easy boss, but it's the first one, so I expect that much. And the victory dance. And let's get that dribble stone and get this really cool looking animation, actually. That looks almost 3D model-like. This Way Forward knows how to animate, seriously. What the? Bolo, are you alright? She touched me! I'll never wash this head again! Are you nuts? She knocked you on your rear! Get up, tell me everything you know about this dribble stone. Hey, cool, you found a legendary relic. There are supposed to be 4 kinds of these stones, each one representing a different element. The one you found produces an endless supply of water. There's also an unbreakable golem stone, a fiery simmer stone, and a very chilly twinkle stone. Any idea where the others are? Not really, but the golem stone was lost in a desert near Oasis Town, according to my granny. Ah, granny. She has eyes like shining emeralds. You worthless mophead. Can't you see that Risky's trying to upgrade the steam engine with these magical stones? It'll make the thing more dangerous than ever. I've got to get to Oasis Town before Risky does. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 3, we'll be heading back towards Scuttletown, actually, and getting some stuff along the way. See you guys then.